Are you looking for ways to create content online without feeling overwhelmed? Well, in this video, I'm going to break it down, make it very easy for you to create high quality content that speaks to your audience. We are going to go over platforms, cadence, ideas, production, and distribution, and make it bite-sized and easy to consume. This idea came from the segment that I did last week, and they were asking me about my content calendar. So I'm like, I'll just shoot a video and we'll dig right into it. First, let's talk about the platforms. I think it's really important to get a high level on what platforms are working as of September 2022. Understand that this is all a moving target. And before I even dig into that, I want you to think about content creation as you are the resource, not the platform. Roberto Blake, amazing author, just launched a book. Shout out to Roberto, a friend of mine, talked about this on his Twitter recently and said, the content creators are the ones that really need to understand that they need to own the audience, right? They have to make sure that they have a mailing list set up, that they have a direct line of communication. As much as I love publishing on YouTube, I want to make sure that you have an easy pathway to reach me. If for some reason YouTube decides that they don't like real estate agents anymore and they take us all off, I set this up. So if you go to justinkonikow.com/resources, this page, I made it very easy for you to interact with me and literally get a direct line to Justin. So if you go to this page and you sign up, the way I made it even better for you is I give out these free PDFs. So my content creation guide, a free PDF you will get if you fill this out. You can actually have my Google Drive link, all that on the resources page so that we can literally build the best community on the planet together. Platforms that I'm going to talk about are YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. There's a whole bunch of other ones, Google My Business, Pinterest, so on and so forth. But these 6, I think, are at the top of the attention graph today. YouTube, to me, is number 1. I don't know if the public knows that and the people know what the power of YouTube is, but second biggest search engine on the planet, owned by Google, has over 2.3 billion users on it. There's 8 billion people on the planet, so it is not too late. Still lots of time for you on YouTube. And it is also the only platform that I have found that when I post content, stuff that I did 5 years ago is still generating leads today. We get 30 to 40 calls a month off our organic Google and SEO and our Google reviews. Phenomenal platform. So I would definitely start thinking about YouTube as being at the top of your attention graph of where you should start paying attention. The comments are really where you see the value on YouTube. I'm not going to go too in depth into YouTube because we do have a lot to cover in this actual segment. But to me, I do think YouTube is something that you need to understand, and I'll give you some resources later on to walk down that path. Everybody knows that TikTok these days is one of the most trending platforms. And it started early on in the pandemic, or 2020, when it was transitioning from Musical.ly to TikTok. People went absolutely viral on the platform. It was bananas. I had a girl on my podcast yesterday, Aviva Sonanich. She's a commercial real estate warehousing expert. She had got 1 million followers on TikTok in 2 years, converted real business, and became the mayor of Denver, Colorado when it comes to industrial warehousing by putting out thoughtful content around that niche. I think a lot of people are chasing what happened over the last 2 years on TikTok now and looking to go viral. What I think we need to understand about TikTok is, as a platform, it is one that is now growing up a little bit. They recently implemented some SEO components to it. So what you physically say in a video in TikTok and what you write down in the description is now searchable. People are searching on TikTok for things when they go on vacation. They literally put the location of where they want to go and they start scrolling videos on TikTok. So I'm wondering and I'm thinking, are they trying to put themselves in a position where they want to become a search engine? We just talked about YouTube. YouTube is the second biggest search engine on the planet, happens to be owned by Google, so they have the first 2 spots. If TikTok can slide into number 3, that is very powerful. So think about when you're producing content similar to YouTube, that searchable and suggestible algorithm is probably the closest comparison to what YouTube is, in my opinion. So very important platform to be focused on. Then Facebook, surprisingly, a lot of people think Instagram and TikTok are at the top of the heap and then everything's underneath them. I do not think so at all. Facebook actually has the highest numbers of users, the most effective ad platform. I would say Google and Facebook combined are probably your 1 and 2. I could do another video on ads. If you want me to do that, let me know in the comments. But Facebook is also putting a lot of work into business pages and groups. As of September 2022, they're going hard in the paint in the algorithm. So if you have a dormant Facebook business page or group, I would suggest that you put that on your list of to-dos. Then Instagram's in a weird spot right now. They were my favorite platform because guys like Peter McKinnon, the creative, spent a lot of time on there. Visually stunning platform. They were heavy on pictures. And now they're chasing TikTok. So they're going heavy on Reels. They realize how much people love TikTok. I think it's a mistake. I think they should be what they are, and they should stick within the community that they've built on Instagram. I think the other thing that they really struggled with is they had a lot of creators that got to be influencers that were buying their followers. So they have a terrible problem with trolls, people creating fake accounts, people buying followers. Even people that you know that you think are influencers and have 50,000 followers are paying for those followers, right? If you look at their comments or you look at their actual interaction from the community, it's always the exact same people that are commenting multiple times on every single post that they have to drive up the engagement, thus drive the growth. I understand the strategy, and some people that want to grow like businesses with it, they're doing it as a thoughtful advertising strategy, but they've turned Instagram into, again, more of an advertising platform than it was an organic social network. So I think that's why Instagram's kind of in la la land right now, but still a very effective platform. I find very geo-local. So I love Instagram because I use it as my vlog. So if you want to see BTS behind the scenes, I'll talk about that later in this episode. I actually use Instagram as like a one-to-one connector. I use it as a text messaging platform as well. So I actually reach out to people on Instagram that I'm friends with in the community that maybe I want to see more of. And I use the algorithm to my advantage. It shows me more of their content. I get to see my friends and clients more, and it actually keeps us more engaged. I use it as a tool, but that's how I use it. But I can tell there's a general sentiment as of September 2022 that Instagram is in a very, very precarious position. And I think that they're going to have to make some major shifts in the next 6 months to find their identity, but understand the language of the platform, where it sits in your overall content strategy, and where you want to deploy your resources. Then there's Twitter and LinkedIn. Twitter, I was off of Twitter for 6 or 7 years. I didn't like it. It was a cesspool of comments, and the following that I had and the people I was following meant nothing to me. Where I found a lot of value in Twitter was as a town square, but what I had to do was I used an app called Tweepi, Tweepi, paid $12 a month for it, and in 1 month I unfollowed 3,000 users. Allows you to bulk unfollow. And I cleaned up everybody I was following, and I actually cleaned up my followers. Now I actually use Twitter for macroeconomics. The real estate market is shifting. Everybody that I follow are people in the banking industry, people in the mortgage industry, real estate industry, people that are thought leaders when it comes to finance from all ends of the spectrum. The reason that I use it as my financial town square is half of the reason you call me is what's happening in the real estate market, Justin. What do you think is going to happen in the States with the bank rates changing? What do you think is happening in Canada? My most valuable contribution to my communities, both here and on my other channel, are likely my opinions about real estate and then connecting you with the best real estate agents on the planet. One of the ways that I actually make money is if you're like, I need somebody in New York, I can connect you with Ryan Serhant personally. If you need somebody in Austin, Texas, you need somebody in LA, Florida, Vancouver, Montreal, I can go on and on. I have one of the biggest global networks when it comes to real estate agents. And that's just one of my superpowers. So I use Twitter to that effect, right? I use it as an actual tool. I also spend a lot of time curating my audiences and unfollowing content I don't want to see. So I think as you're picking these platforms, I would really encourage you to think about curating your feeds on these platforms as much as you're building your own, because if you don't want to see certain types of content or arguments or negativity, I would literally unfollow it. And the more you spend time doing that, the better your feeds are going to be. LinkedIn is great for B2B. There's a lot of people on LinkedIn that aren't on any other platforms. I did a podcast with Judy Fox. She said, listen, LinkedIn's a great place in business. If you want to get to people that you want to get to, they have no idea who you are. So if I want to get to real estate developers, here's a very easy tactic that you can use on LinkedIn. Say I wanted to get to Brad Lamb. So I don't know Brad Lamb. I don't actually need to connect with him. He's in Toronto, so I'm not going to be doing any real estate with him. But if I opened up his profile, here's a really cool way that I can connect with him. I'm not connected with him, so this is live. Go to the person's page that you want to connect with on LinkedIn. Click on their activity page, show all activity, and then I would copy this link to a spreadsheet. And then what I would do is say I wanted to connect with Brad Lamb and 15 other people. Once a week, I would actually go into that spreadsheet. I'd highlight all of the links in the spreadsheet and I'd click open all. And then I would look at his posts and I would see if there's anything that I have to contribute to his conversations. He posted this 3 days ago, 0, we build real estate careers. I own a brokerage. I'm not really interested in joining it. So I'm not going to, no context to this. It's all recruiting stuff. So I'm not really going to interact with this, but we build real estate careers. Apparently he's really hitting hard on the recruiting aspect. First time buyer, workshops. So honestly, I wouldn't even engage with this, but let me go back to the concept. Say it was somebody in my market and they posted that they just broke ground on a new development and I knew the area, I may give context to that's so amazing. That park around that corner is absolutely incredible. I'm so happy you bought that piece of land, excited to see the future development. If I did that consistently for 6 months, guess whose radar I'm going to be on, and guess who is going to see my content online, connect with me, and in 9 to 12 months, I've turned a cold call into a warm call. So as a quick summary of the platforms, all of those platforms have different use cases and different languages. I don't want you to hear that entire list and think, okay, Justin, now I have to go on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. I want you to pick the one that I spoke about that speaks to you. I want you to start very simply. If you're somebody that's new to this, pick up one platform. Maybe it's TikTok. Let's just say it's TikTok. And you need to understand how to start creating content because that's the purpose of this episode. The next thing you need to understand is the cadence and the language of that platform. Actually, I'm going to use YouTube. So say I need to understand the cadence and language of YouTube. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go on there as a creator and I'm going to find me in 10 years. I'm going to find somebody that's doing what I want to do. And I'm going to literally look at their content as a creator, not a consumer. I'm going to look at their content. I'm going to look at the cadence of their videos, how they shoot them, the information they provided, and even what they're talking about. Understanding how people communicate on the platform is essential. The next thing I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go in the comments. I'm going to start looking at how the community is reacting to the video. Because once you have an understanding of the language of the platform, it puts you in a much better position to create content for that platform. Why I'm making a point of saying this is a lot of people, when they create content on different platforms, they'll create something on TikTok and then they'll just repost it on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. They'll repost it everywhere with the exact same edit, the exact same captions, the exact same everything. And they actually lose the trust of their audience on that platform because they're not respecting the fact that that audience is there to consume content in a very specific way. So I replay these episodes as an audio podcast, but we chop out a lot of the fat. We put an intro, we put an outro explaining what the episode is. So when you're driving in your car, you actually get to hear in this episode, we are going to cover ABC. And if you don't want to listen to it, you can skip it. My small little attention to detail of valuing the person listening to the content is one of the reasons you keep people engaged on your content. So understand how people communicate on the platforms, look at it from a creator standpoint, take notes, and then you're going to have to start sitting down and saying, okay, now how am I going to create content? You understand the platforms, you picked one, you understand the language. The next thing I'd say is pay attention to the cadence. Like, how often do you think you're going to be posting on this platform? Before you even get to the ideas, what is reasonable for you? If I'm going to talk about YouTube, once a week is probably what I'm going to start off with. I do about 3 times a week plus my shorts. I started with 1 time a week. I committed to putting out 1 piece of content a week to my audience. And, I broke that down thinking, well, how is that feasible? And I had to split into 3 different segments. So Saturdays, I'd sit down with a coffee and I'd write down ideas and frame the episode, which I've done for this one. Then I'd actually shoot the episode, which I'm doing Friday morning live. And I'm actually on an audio app called Breakfast with Champions. And then after we're done this, I'm actually going to take it off YouTube, download the video file. My editor is going to just chop it up a bit, and then we're going to handle the distribution of it. So understand that you need to come up with ideas, shoot the content, and then distribute it. So pick a cadence on a platform that you can do regularly, and you have to commit to the process. If I am going to talk about TikTok, I'm doing 3 times a day now, but my ideas, shooting, and distribution all happen at the same time on TikTok. It's a lot faster for me because I'm very off the cuff. I show you what I'm doing. I give you thoughts about things that are happening live in my business. You want the BTS behind the scenes, the vlog, you're going to find that on my TikTok or my IG stories. You're not going to find that on YouTube, right? So the cadence on those platforms is different. You got to find what you're comfortable with and not get overwhelmed. So your homework is literally pick 1 platform, decide how many times you're going to post a week, getting ideas. Again, not rocket science. You have millions and millions and millions of people out there that have done the work for you. Find the people that are doing the things that you want to do. Look at their top performing content. See if you have anything to offer on those topics. Do not just rip off their content and just copy all of the words that they say and try and regurgitate them. It will never work. It worked for them because they are them. People that try and replicate Ryan Serhant's content is not going to work because you don't have the business and the TV show and everything else that Ryan has today, right? You're going to want to look at the content that people are looking at for answers to more than anything, right? So if people want to know about mortgage rates in Canada, I am going to shoot a video on that the next time they do the rate hikes. And I'm going to put that on my Prime channel because that's what my audience is there for. I would say when you're coming up with ideas, I can do another segment on this. Understanding who your audience is absolutely critical. I was talking with a friend, Nazma Ali, amazing real estate agent on Twitter in Toronto. You can check her out. She's been featured on Bloomberg and many other sites. She's committing to YouTube. And she posted about YouTube. And she's like, I want to talk. And I asked her, I said, who do you want to talk to, consumers or agents? And she said both. And I said 2 channels, because the Prime real estate channel is for consumers looking to relocate to Southwestern Ontario or anybody looking for a referral agent across the planet. That's the channel for real estate stuff. My channel, this channel, is for people that are looking to build businesses and do what I do in the real estate world. I actually had them combined forever and I had no growth. I separated them a year ago and I've had rapid growth on both channels, so much so that I know if I commit to the process, I'll be Roger Wakefield one day in my business. Now, to make that super, super clear, is I'll show you the Justin Konikow channel and the types of content. So the content buckets, now that I know who I'm speaking to, I have 3 different types of contents. I have live podcasts, so stop buying leads, how to literally build a YouTube channel and generate an insane amount of leads, how to create better content with Candace Morales. Tyler Mount from Surhant was actually on my podcast, and all my replays are here. Chelsea Pites, it goes on and on. Incredible podcasts. These people, like the information they give is so valuable. Then I have shorts. Shorts is a newer thing on YouTube, and it's trending right now. So I'm putting out a ton of information on shorts. It's a lot of clips of replays of the Prime People podcast, and it actually pushes people to the longer form episodes or informational content. So I do batch shoots about once a month where I shoot 30 to 40 pieces of content, information that speaks to my audience. So information around marketing, sales, and branding, building a business, and I post them as shorts. The other thing that I do is I do a monthly vlog. So I have a hip issue. A lot of people that work a lot, they have back issues and they're in pain all the time. I brought a guy named Rue, and we actually shot a full vlog around how to actually fix your back and hip pain. We went to a park and we actually hung out as a crew and we stretched on foam rollers and lacrosse balls and everything else. When we actually dug in and showed people how to fix some very, very basic pain issues. And the reason that I did this vlog was I don't think it's going to blow up right out of the gate, but I do think that as I grow, it's going to bring in more of my audience. And then I shoot the informational videos that I'm doing right now, how to find a mentor, how to build a newsletter, how to brand yourself, and what to do. So this content is very, very poignant and directed at a specific avatar. If I go to my Prime channel, we just popped 1 million views on this channel, and the videos that I have here, if I go down here, you'll see we have a lot of listing videos. The thumbnails are very basic. We can get into thumbnail designs on another episode, but the more basic, the better. We have market update videos, which are doing incredibly well. And then we have property or neighborhood tour videos. So you'll see Port Frank's vlog tour, St. Thomas vlog tour, housing crash. We have all of these different videos that, all combine to provide the audience a clear pathway of, I'm educating you as to what's happening in the real estate market. I'm showing you the neighborhoods that you could potentially want to live in, and I'm showing you incredible real estate. So I'm telling my platform exactly who I want to speak to, so that as people engage with the videos, I am giving YouTube the ability to find more people that are going to be interested in my content, versus before when I had both of my channels combined, it was so confused. It was like, are business owners watching this, or are people that are buying real estate watching this? So I think you need to get very, very clear about who you're speaking to so that you understand the questions that they may have. For the actual production, keep it super simple, please. Our property tour videos, if you go watch them, are shot on a GoPro. The reason is it's actually easier for me to strap that to my car, shoot B-roll of the neighborhoods, turn it around, talk to the camera, walk through a neighborhood, look at houses, and then upload that batch of files than it is for me to have a DSLR, a GoPro, a gimbal, a drone. Like, you'll see there's some drone photography and additional layers I put in there. I have a production company, so I can do that. You don't need to do that. I would literally just get started with your iPhone, and I would not overcomplicate it. Mr. Beast, one of the biggest YouTubers online, has videos on this where they are using iPhones for the majority of their videos. So don't get into the gear. Don't get paralysis by analysis saying I don't have the equipment. More than anything, I think I want to wrap up this educational piece by saying it's the consistency, right? Getting very, very clear on the platform that you want to post on, understanding and putting in the time to learn the language of the platform, doing research on platforms like YouTube and watching videos as to how's the algorithm work in September 2022, getting your ideas, understanding your audience, and being consistent is what is going to help you break through. There's no easy button. The virality is not going to be the solution for you. It's going to be the consistency over time. If you'd like some free resources on how to get educated on this stuff, you can go to justinkonikow.com/resources. The bottom of the page is a lot of stuff that I use, a few book recommendations that I'll add to this page. YouTube Secrets is amazing. There's a book I'm reading right now called YouTube Formula and Create Something Awesome by Roberto Blake. I'm also reading Shift and the Bible for consistency on my point. If you're curious about the gear, I have an Amazon Associates page where I show you the stuff that I'm actually using. The GoPro, the JAWS, my EOS R is what I shoot with, lights, microphones, all that stuff. Again, I don't want you to get overwhelmed by the tech. I really want you to get clear on the communication. Own your platform. You are more powerful than you think. Pick a platform, pick a cadence. Jump in the comments, let me know what it is. And as always, if you need any help or encouragement, DM me on Instagram or any other platform. I am the one that responds, and I will catch you next time.